The nature of the criminality in which the United States engages, wholesale criminality engaged in by its government, translates into piles and piles and piles of rotting, stinking corpses. These are real people. This is real grinding mystery. This is real burning flesh. This is real shredded babies, and not just a few. We're talking now on a scale of millions, perpetually. Death by starvation, death by deprivation of medical attention, death by all manner of means, truncations of lifespan, people with 40-year longevity as an entire population, killing masses of other people and starving their babies to death. There's 500,000 Iraqi children have been starved to death in non-wartime conditions over the past 10 years without a murmur of protest. That's the nature of the process, that degree of intensive impoverishment for the raking off, exploitation, whatever you want to call it, of the assets which should make their lives livable. That's the structure of the reality, and what has been the response.
Bumblebee Schmidt.
We can bear moral witness and feel better about ourselves because we're enlightened and aware when we go home from the rally, which did absolutely nothing to change anything tangible in terms of the functioning of power. Once that cycle has been completed, once the list of finite options are exhausted, producing effect of utter ineffectuality, we'll go back to the beginning and start it all over again. And when that fails, we go back, and there's been iteration after iteration after iteration after iteration of that throughout the 20th century, almost all of it nonviolence. While babies die decade in, decade out, I can find no morality whatsoever, but I can find self-interest, I can find self-indulgence, and I find it disgusting in extreme degree to have that peddled as a morally superior position to people who, in the face of being on the receiving end of that, try to find some means of attracting attention or at least strike back. At least strike back. The old thing about if I'm going to die, which we all will, I would much rather do so on my feet than on my knees, kind of binding here. At least those who respond in kind to the rules imposed have the dignity of dying on their own terms, rather than those that are imposed by a system. If there were a serious movement, a serious opposition in this country, get yourself intellectually, psychologically prepared, get yourself equipped, get yourself trained, have available the option to engage in a reflexive and flexible manner to whatever the situation is that presents itself, so that you can engage in a reasonable and rational analysis of what it is that might work in any given instance, what works in any given situation, what is most likely to work, for which investment can you get the most return in capitalist terms, such a language they understand. On 9/11, 19 guys equipped with $30 worth of box cutters did 100 billion, and the count is increasing, dollars worth of damage structurally to the economy of the United States. In other words, 19 guys with $30 worth of box cutters did more bleeding of the system in terms of value that it understands than every boycott and every march and every campaign that we've undertaken since Vietnam. And they did it in about 20 minutes.